Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to be talking about XTZ or Tezos. We're going to be looking at the price with respect to Bitcoin, how it behaves with respect to Bitcoin's 20-week moving average, and a few other things. So if you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on, and also check out this Telegram channel here in the description below. I know a lot of people here have Telegram and like to discuss things on a daily basis with other people who are involved in the crypto scene. So if you want to join, check out this channel here. We have around 2,500 people. So let's go ahead and jump in. So if you're not familiar with my channel, which I assume many of you might not be because this is the first time I've covered XTZ, a lot of times I make my own charts, and I do that so that I can more easily manipulate things or views that I can elucidate here better than I could say on TradingView, where I have to kind of conform to whatever tools they have. But anyways, here we have the price of XTZ on the y-axis, and we have time on the x-axis. And note that this is a linear scale. Now, one of the things we've talked about many times in cryptocurrency, often it's better to use a logarithmic scale to get a better idea of percent changes when the price can be very volatile, so it can, change orders of magnitude. In this case, we haven't seen as much volatility with Tezos as we have with many other coins, but the main reason for that is that it did not, it wasn't around back in the 2017, early 2018 bull market that a lot of coins experienced, and so it hasn't actually had one of those blow-off peaks yet. Now we hope it gets there, obviously, but so far the price has more or less been around $2 all the way down to around 35 cents or so, and now we're back up to approximately $2. So let's go ahead and put on the price of Bitcoin. So on the secondary y-axis, on a linear scale, we have the price of Bitcoin. So the yellow line is XTZ, corresponding to the primary y-axis. The red line is Bitcoin, corresponding to the secondary y-axis. So one of the things I wanted to show on here is some of the price movements that we're going to get into a little bit later in the video. The first thing is, they do seem fairly correlated. Now there are a lot of coins that are not as correlated, but most are correlated fairly significantly to Bitcoin. I did not actually calculate the correlation coefficient for this video, but you can see that XTZ tends to drop when Bitcoin drops, and it tends to go up when Bitcoin goes up. And when it goes down again, it tends to go down, and when Bitcoin goes up, XTZ goes up. I know that sounds like it might be fairly straightforward, but it's actually not the case with all coins. So one of the things that I want to highlight, and we've talked about this many times, is the Bitcoin 20-week moving average and how we can use that to, optimize our holdings in, say, altcoins like Tezos. And the reason we do this is because, historically speaking, altcoins tend to perform much better when Bitcoin is above its 20-week moving average than when it's below its 20-week moving average. And when it's above its 20-week moving average, it tends to indicate a bull run. As you can see, the last bull run holding support on the 20-week moving average many times over. When we're in a bear market, the 20-week tends to be resistance. When we're in a bull market, it tends to be a support line. However, we have not started our current bull market because we were not able to hold support on the 20-week back at $10,000 in 2019 and $8,500 earlier this year. And you can kind of see a similar pattern with this current cycle and the last one. We had a period of time at the beginning where we were having that blow off top speculative bubble phase, followed by resistance in the bear market, and then followed by the 20-week moving average oscillating, or sorry, the price going above and below the 20-week moving average and testing it before ultimately holding it as support and going off to the races. Currently, we're still in that phase of, Bitcoin it's below the 20-week moving average right now, but it's been above it twice so far and it's failed to hold it as support. So where does this leave us with XTZ? So this chart shows the price of XTZ on a logarithmic scale when Bitcoin is above the 20-week and below the 20-week moving average. So if it's below the 20-week, it's color-coded yellow. And if it's above the 20-week XTZ, the price is color-coded red. So you can see that when, historically speaking, when Bitcoin is below the 20-week, the valuation of XTZ isn't really increasing significantly. Now, there are other coins that tend to drop more so when Bitcoin falls below the 20-week, and also when it goes above the 20-week, they tend to perform very well. You can see though in April 2019, XTZ, when Bitcoin got above the 20-week, so it kind of front run it a little bit. XTZ started going up before Bitcoin got to the 20-week, but once it got to the 20-week, XTZ further went up from 70 cents or so up to close to $2. So a fairly significant gain. Before it got to the 20-week, it was only up from around 40 cents to around 60, 70 cents or so, and then it went from 70 cents all the way up to almost $2 before ultimately retracing back down to $1, and then Bitcoin broke the 20-week. And then the change between, you know, the period of time when Bitcoin was below the 20-week between, say, this point and this point is not that significant. It maybe from around $1 to $1.30 or so, so not a huge change. But the minute that Bitcoin again got above the 20-week moving average, you can see a huge spike up in the valuation of XTZ. So we have two key times where Bitcoin got above the 20-week, and you can see the move that XTZ had immediately. So in April of 2019, we went from around 70 cents up to almost $2. And in the first quarter of 2020, we went from, you know, around $1.30 or so, close to, you know, $3.60 or so, close to $4. So what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for Bitcoin to get above the 20-week moving average, and that currently is sitting at around $7,800. So if that gets there, then you can use historical data to help inform your idea of what might happen with XTZ. This is not financial advice. This is just how I look at the markets and how I try to use past patterns to inform future decisions. So we had this move here when Bitcoin was above the 20-week, and this move here. Some of you might say, well, you know, you could have bought in this region down here, and that is true. But at least, you know, the valuation of XTZ would have gone up, but also the valuation of Bitcoin was going up at the time too. If we just draw some imaginary lines, like I know many people like to see, we can see this general uptrend channel does not mean that we cannot break above it or below it, as at one point in time we were above it in a downtrend. But this just is to guide the eye as to more or less the trend that XTZ has been on for the last year and a half or so. Finally, here is the chart I really wanted to talk about at the end, because this is the valuation of XTZ with respect to Bitcoin. So it appears that approximately 1 times 10 to the minus 4 in terms of its valuation with Bitcoin seems to be its local bottom. You can see that is ultimately where it has held support. And both times that it held support for about 3 or 4 months or so, it then saw a nice move from around 1 times 10 to the minus 4 up to 2.5 times 10 to the minus 4. And you can see that happen both times. Now, if you put on the 20-week moving average, though, you can see that its valuation with respect to Bitcoin is not quite as bullish as we have seen for some other coins. The first time was in April 2019, but there actually, while there are some coins that outperformed Bitcoin during this time, most of them did not. So while the price of XTZ was going up, this was when Bitcoin went from around $4,000 to, $14,000 between April and the summer of 2019. So during that time, you can see the valuation of XTZ fell from around 2.5 times 10 to the minus 4 back to 1. But ultimately, it was in the second time that Bitcoin held the 20-week moving average that it went from around 1.5 times 10 to the minus 4 all the way up to around 3.5 times 10 to the minus 4. So while I don't think the trend is as significant in XTZ as some of the other coins that I covered on the channel, I do know a lot of people of my channel like XTZ and like Tezos, and so I wanted to cover it, and I like it too. I think they are at least doing something that could help the cryptocurrency space grow as a whole, and obviously they're fighting for market share from a lot of other coins, and it's going to be a big competition, and there's an uphill battle waiting, but we'll certainly cover this coin in the years to come to see how it is faring as the months go on. So here I'm just breaking down the data for you. How does it tend to fare when Bitcoin is above the 20-week moving average or below? You can see that with XTZ, with its valuation with respect to Bitcoin, it does not seem to show a clear trend one way or another. But when you look at it just in terms of the price of XTZ, it does tend to see a nice gain immediately after immediately after Bitcoin gets above the 20-week moving average. Again, going from 70 cents up to around $2 and around $1.30 up to over $3.50. So the last thing I wanted to show you guys is, a lot of the stuff on my channel is unique in the sense that I'm making it myself. I'm not just pulling up TradingView. So if you guys want to check out what else I have to offer, I just made a couple videos, one on Bitcoin and one on Ethereum, looking at logarithmic regression bands and evaluation and overvaluation using the lengthening cycle theory that I've laid out in other videos to show where another speculative bubble might be. If you're not into Bitcoin, that's fine, but this is, I think, informative information for anyone in the crypto space, because Bitcoin does tend to be the market mover. If Bitcoin's moving, then a lot of other coins are moving as well. And note that a lot of coins will not see the same type of gains they saw in 2017 that they might in, say, speculative bubble in 2023. Just as there were many coins that had peaks in 2013, they did not see the same all-time highs in 2017. So it's important to pick your coins, pick your tokens, whatever you're investing in, pick them appropriately, so that at least you can stand by your decision and not just say, okay, I just threw in some random coin. And at least XTZ does seem to be one of the better coins in the space. Again, if you guys like the content, subscribe to the channel. I do have a Telegram channel that you can also check out. But speaking of TradingView, I do like to pull it up sometimes because a lot of people do like it, and I can quickly identify some things. So here is Tezos with respect to USD, and I just wanted to identify a pattern that I saw. It's not necessarily that impressive, but going from we've had this pattern here where we saw a drop from this point down of this was negative 75%. Okay, in March of 2019 we saw a move up, and I just want to measure these out so you guys get an idea. So we saw a move up, and it was around a 400% move, and this started back in February of 2019. The real move started going in the middle of March of 2019. Following this 400% move, we then saw a fairly significant drop. So we saw a drop of around 60%. 60%, yes, around 60%, 57.85%. So we have, down 75, up 400, down 60, and then if we take another measured move to see what happened after this, we went up another 400%. So a fairly similar trend here, down 60 to 70%, up 400, down 60%, up 400. I'll leave it as to you guys as a guess as to what do you think this drop here was. So if we take another measured move from this point up here down to this point, well, what do you know? 70% drop. If we were to continue this trend, so we see a 70% drop, a 400% move, a 60% drop, 400% move, 70% drop, you can already see we have seen a move already of around 100%. Where would a 400% move put us? Well, if we went up to 400%, then it might put us at a value of around 585 from that bottom. And note that I should try to get as close as I can, but let's just say it's somewhere over here, and we're going to draw it out. Let's say it takes another 90, let's say 100 days or so. Then it would put us at around $5 or $6 or so in July of 2020. Now, clearly this pattern does not have to keep repeating, and I think one of the key things that needs to happen for this pattern to have a chance of repeating, again, would obviously be going back and seeing Bitcoin again get above the 20-week moving average so that we can see a nice move like this or a move like this where it's going up, you know, over 50%. I mean, this case it went up over 100%. But we need, we want to see a 100-200% move if Bitcoin can get above the 20-week moving average. So if we see another 400% move like we've seen, then that would get us to a valuation of around $6 in the summer of 2020. So if Bitcoin does not get above the 20-week moving average and instead it holds that 100-week moving average as resistance and then heads back down to the 200-week, then obviously we're going to kick the can down the road. And getting out to $6, it could take a lot longer period of time. So I hope this has been informative for everyone. I will obviously be covering XTZ now on the channel. We also cover a number of other coins like Bitcoin and Ether, Litecoin, Cardano, Chainlink, and a few others. So if you guys like the content, want to see the approach that I provide that I think is different than most people, then please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to talk about the charts and join a community, then check out the Telegram channel in the description below. And also I do have a Patreon for those who want to support and get access to some premium content. But that'll wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.